Hi folks, StrategicWolf here, and welcome back at long last to some more tips for beginners. Now apologies, this series has been on hold for some time, but in my very limited spare time I've just been focusing on deck guides as they were getting a much greater response on YouTube. However, I always intended to finish this series at some point, and a lovely comment I got a few days ago on an earlier tips video has really inspired me to get my rear end in gear and get this series finished as soon as possible, of course while still maintaining a very high standard of content and tips, because that's what it's all about. Now, today we're going to do Nilfgaard tips, okay, all the keywords surrounding Nilfgaard. So, as always, if you're a beginner and you find this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, join the channel. I'm going to have some more tips coming up very soon, and of course I always have at least one deck guide per week, okay? Also, if you're an old pro and you're find this video and you think, okay, this guy, StrategicWolf, doing a pretty decent job with these tips, then do please give me a thumbs up, and also maybe even consider subscribing just to keep an eye on me, make sure I'm still doing those tips correctly, and also I do have some pretty interesting decks at least once per week. Alright folks, that's me, I'm going to stop talking, that's the intro, let's do these tips, let's get it done, and let's get it done right now. Okay folks, so the first thing we're going to look at, first keyword is Disloyal, okay, we're going to look at the Disloyal keyword and the spying status. Okay, so now a card like Emissary, okay, a bronze card, it has the keyword Disloyal. Now what that means, this used to be a spy card, okay? A Disloyal just means that it's played on the opposite side, okay? So this card, it's my card, but it's going to be played on the opponent's side, okay? So it's Disloyal, its deployability is boost an ally by 7, okay? So Disloyal is going to be played on the opponent's side, okay? Can't be played on my side. It's my card, but has to be played on the opponent's side, okay? Doesn't matter where, okay? So let's just put it here, okay? Deployability, boost an ally by 7, so let's boost this up by 7. And now you can see the little I, the little status symbol for spying, okay? That's the spying status. So any of my cards that I play on the opponent's side gain the spying status. Likewise, any cards that my opponent has that they play on my side, they also gain the spying status, okay? So Disloyal cards played on the opponent's side and they gain the spying status. Let's end the turn, we'll do one more, okay? Let's end the turn. Okay, it's our turn again, so let's play another one. Let's play Cantarella. Disloyal, so play it on the opponent's side. Deploy, play the top card from your opponent's deck, okay? So let's play Cantarella. Let's play her on the back row this time.
I shall be your eyes, my lord.
We get an Elven Swordmaster, okay?
Swords I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn.
Now, as you can see, Cantarella gained the spying status, okay? She's played on the opposite side because she's Disloyal, and she gained the spying status, okay? So that, folks, is spying status and Disloyal keyword, okay? Let's move on. Okay, now let's talk about the seize keyword, okay? So a card like Swears, deploy in the melee, seize an enemy unit with 3 or less power. Vigo's Muzzle, lock an enemy unit, we know what locking is, we've done that in a previous video. Lock an enemy unit with 5 or less power and seize it, okay? So what seizing means is taking a unit from the opponent's side and moving it to our side, okay? So, right now, our opponent has 2 engines, Commando, which won't actually trigger because we have some non-elf units. We've put some non-elf units with our spies. That's the thing about spies as well, with the Disloyal cards, is you can play them and mess up your opponent's strategy, okay? So right now, these aren't elves, so this is not boosting, okay? So let's actually, just in case he kills these somehow or something, let's just take this away from him. Let's ping this with our newly acquired Swordmaster and use Swears to seize it, because it's now 3 strength. Okay, and now, linking back to the spying status, because we've seized it, this is not our card, it's our opponent's card, obviously, but because we've seized it and moved it to our side, it has gained the spying status. So our cards played on our opponent's side, Emissary, Cantarella, spying status. Seizing the Commando, spying status. Okay, let's do one more. Let's end the turn. Okay, now as I mentioned, he has 2 engines. Okay, the other one is the Elven Swordmaster, okay? Pretty good engine, okay? Especially in an elf deck, which this appears to be. So we're going to use Vigo's Muzzle to lock it and seize it, okay? So we've locked it, it's gained the lock status. We've also seized it, so it's gained the spying status, okay? So that's seize, okay? So we've done now Disloyal, the keyword, the spying status, and the seize keyword. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now let's talk about the keyword conspiracy. Okay, so let's look at this bronze card, Angry Mob. So deploy ability is damage an enemy unit by 2. Conspiracy boosts self by 2. So what conspiracy means is if you target a unit that has a spying status, okay? For example, like Cantarella, okay? Or you can also use a card like, what is it? It's the Mage Torture, I think it's called. I think it's the Mage Torture, which actually can give a unit spying, okay? Fergus for Emrys can give multiple units spying status, okay? So you give something like, we could give Ellerin a spying status and then damage her, okay? And get the conspiracy. But we're just going to use it on Cantarella just to show it here, okay? I'll actually show you both, okay? I'll show you the first one without conspiracy, okay? So Angry Mob, deploy, damage an enemy unit by 2, conspiracy, boost self by 2. Let's just damage one of these, okay? So the Angry Mob should not boost itself because this has not got the spying status, okay? So let's do this. Deploy, damage, okay? 2 damage, no boost, okay? Let's end the turn and then I'll show you the Angry Mob damaging Cantarella and triggering the conspiracy keyword. End the turn. Okay, so our opponent has passed. We're just behind by a few points, okay? Let's play the other Angry Mob onto Cantarella. Because she has the spying status, it will trigger the conspiracy keyword, okay? So Angry Mob, deploy, damage for 2, conspiracy, boost self by 2. There we go. And that's conspiracy, folks, okay? Let's move on. Okay, now let's talk about one of the best keywords in Nilfgaard, and that is Assimilate, okay? Look at the Ducal Guard, it has the keyword Assimilate, okay? So does the Ardfenin Heavy Cavalry, so does Brathens, and so does Artorias Vigor. They all have Assimilate. Now what Assimilate means is whenever you play a card, a unit, a special, or a artifact that's not from your own starting deck, okay? So it doesn't have to be a different faction. We could be playing against Nilfgaard, but if we use cards from their deck and not my original or our original starting deck, you trigger the Assimilate keyword, okay? So, for example, Bronze Disloyal like Duchess Informant, okay? Disloyal, so plan to be played on the opposite row, on the opposite side, okay, on our opponent's side. Spawn and play, we all know what spawn is from a previous video. Spawn and play a base copy of a non-disloyal bronze enemy unit. So let's copy, has to be a bronze, so the only bronze there is the commando, okay? Let's copy that, okay? Copy that. Once we play it, because it's not from our starting deck, it will trigger the Assimilate, and the Ducal Guard will boost himself by 1. There you go. That's Assimilate, okay? Now, that's the really good thing about Disloyal units. This only boosts when you have elf units, okay? So we actually play a Disloyal card, okay, a Disloyal unit, on the opponent's side and mess up their tactics a little bit, okay? Very good as well. We did the last video, Northern Realms, we did the crew ability. Very good to play a Disloyal between the soldier and the card that needs to be crewed, okay? It's a very good way to mess up crew abilities as well. So that's the thing about Nilfgaard, you can mess up your opponent, you can block things, clog their rows with Disloyal units, okay? Let's move on and do some more assimilation, okay? Some more Assimilate. Okay, so now let's use a special card. Let's use Imperial Diplomacy, which creates, okay, we've done create before in a previous video, creates and plays a bronze card from your opponent's faction, okay? So that's going to, it doesn't even matter if we're playing against Nilfgaard, okay? Just from our opponent's faction, so we're going to create a card, okay? Adding a card to the game. That card, because we've created it, will not be in our starting deck, okay? So it will trigger Assimilate, okay? So let's do this, and let's just take a minor, okay? Let's take a minor. Triggers the Assimilate, okay? Brilliant. Let's do it again. Okay, now let's look at a double Assimilate proc, okay? Double Assimilate proc with 1 card, okay? Now proc, P-R-O-C, just means to trigger something like Assimilate, okay? So to trigger the Assimilate, okay? So Ducal Guard has Assimilate. Vigo is now on the board, he also has Assimilate, okay? So whenever we play a card not from our starting deck, both of these will boost by 1. Now, let's play Brathens, who also has Assimilate. His deploy is create and play a bronze Disloyal unit from our starting deck, okay? Which we have Duchess Informants, okay? We also have the other 2 as well, which is Emissary and Mage Infiltrator in this deck. Now, Brathens will create and play a bronze disloyal unit. This will be the Duchess Informant. The Duchess Informant herself will trigger all Assimilate engines, okay? Because we created this card. This card is not ours to start with, okay? We've created this card with Brathens. Okay, let's play this. Okay, when we play it, it will trigger Brathens, Vigo, and the Ducal Guard. They'll all boost by 1, okay? It will proc the Assimilate. And let's copy this. They've all boosted by 1 because of the Duchess Informant, okay? Let's play the Archer and trigger them all again.
They can hide.
There you go. There's a double Assimilate proc in 1 turn because of a card like Brathens, okay? Because he created a bronze disloyal unit like the Duchess Informant, which then spawned a copy of one of these. So double Assimilate proc in 1 turn. Very nice indeed, okay? Let's do it once more, hopefully, with Triss Telekinesis. Okay, so Triss Telekinesis creates, okay, so creating this card, whatever special card we create will trigger the Assimilate. Because this is an Assimilate deck that I've created, I have the Imperial Diplomacy, which I used earlier on to trigger the Ducal Guard, okay? Let's see if we can find an Imperial Diplomacy and once again get a double Assimilate proc in 1 turn. So Triss Telekinesis creates Imperial Diplomacy. Okay, so this is not our starting Imperial. This is one that Triss has created. So this here card, even though it's a Nilfgaard card, it will trigger the Assimilate because it's not in our starting deck. Okay, so we're going to play it. It will trigger Brathens, Vigo, and the Ducal Guard. And we're going to play. Let's play a special card. Let's play Nature, Circle of Life, okay? Now, they've all triggered, look, they've all triggered because of the card that Triss created, the Imperial Diplomacy. I haven't played the Circle of Life yet, but I will now, and they will trigger once again. There you go. Another double Assimilate proc with Triss. Look at the points, okay? Fantastic stuff. And that, folks, is Assimilate. Okay, folks, well, that's it for Nilfgaard. Hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again real soon.